Welcome to Season 2 of Go Wildly podcast. We are Emily and Heather, two childhood friends who carry a mic into wild places like rivers, trails, and forests, with wild people to host raw, honest conversations about adventure, healing, identity, and the transformative power of nature. In this season, we're centering the voices of people who call Southern Oregon home. Outdoor enthusiasts and outdoor professionals whose lives have been shaped, changed, or are continually influenced by time outside. Come along as together we go wildly. Hey, just a quick note before we head in. Our mics are not perfectly placed and balanced for this episode, so you're going to hear me, Emily, way louder than Heather and our guest. Fortunately, our guest does do most of the talking, so just keep your hand near your volume button to adjust for me. We'll be better next time. Thank you.
Okay, hello.
Oh, we need a picture.
Picture?
From on the phone?
Do you want to do on the phone?
Yeah.
You want to do right now?
Yep. Let's do it at the end.
Okay, if you can remember.
We're going to remember to do it at the end.
Okay.
Because I think we have, once we get to know each other, then we have bigger smiles.
Yeah, that's true. That is very true.
Everyone's had a
I
great
like
time.
that.
Yeah.
It's a real smile.
Yeah, versus forced, hi, we just met and now we're hugging.
Sweet. I like it.
So we'll remember to, hey Siri, set an alarm for 11:30 to take a picture. Booyah.
Done.
Love Siri.
Okay. Hello. Hi. Welcome to Go Wildly. Today on Go Wildly, we are fired up to be joined by Marshall Wolf. Marshall grew up running wild through woods and streams, and he's basically never stopped. He's lived the modern vagabond life, never staying in one city for more than 4 years, but the Rogue Valley keeps pulling him back. He's moved here 3 separate times for fish ecology jobs, and at this point, it's safe to say that the river and the dirt have won. By trade, he's a stream ecologist with a PhD in aquatic ecology from Utah State. But off paper, he's a trail builder, community stoker, and core member of the Rogue Valley Mountain Bike Association, helping dig, shape, and connect both trails and people across the valley. Snowboarding was his first love, and right now he's fully back in it, working as a snowboard instructor and terrain park crew member at Mount Ashland while taking a year-long sabbatical from science. Marshall lives at the intersection of dirt, data, and deep community, and we are very excited to talk with him about what keeps drawing him back to the valley and why building trails might be just as important as studying streams. Heather knows Marshall because...
Well, we met at the Dollar Mountain grand opening, and I feel like we just clicked.
Yeah.
Totally. You just have a great personality, and so do I. So it just worked. No, it was just I feel like you instantly I don't know, we just instantly clicked, and I felt really connected. Your bike path in life, and just more mountain bikers on the pod is why I offered. I was like, you want to be on the pod? Mm-hmm. And
Oh yeah.
So that's it.
And we love when we reach out to people and people immediately say yes, and it takes no convincing, and it's just sick, wonderful. Sounds good.
Yeah, it's totally rad.
Sure.
Yeah. And we are here today in Lithia Park. We thought that it was going to be pouring rain, and so we wanted to find somewhere where we could be outside but also undercover. And now the sun is shining, and it's going to be just a really lovely Southern Oregon day. So we're going to wander up the trails through Lithia Park until we find somewhere nice and quiet to sit and hang out and
do what we do best.
Exactly.
Yeah, I wish we could have went up into the snow.
Yeah.
That would have been
Really
cool.
cool.
It just...
Another time.
Yeah, we'll do it another time.
Obviously, people are going to ask for a follow-up and a part 2, so we'll do part 2 in the snow.
Yeah, we'll do part 2 in the snow. I do want to do a trek through the snow of some sort.
Yeah.
But it's
too
hard
risky
when we
today.
have...
Yeah.
And
It's too risky today.
it's just too hard when we have a limited amount of time.
Yeah.
We try to... this is an adventure podcast, but it's also
practical.
Practical. Yeah. So it's a little hard, but
Yeah. And for lots of people, Lithia Park is an adventure.
Yeah.
Who knows what we're going to find in this mystical
I've
place.
only been here a few times, and so
it's an adventure for you.
Definitely gonna find something new then.
Yeah.
just a few times. I think we had a bike demo up the way here.
Yeah.
Is it
At the quarry?
The quarry.
Oh,
The
cool.
road to
Were
the
you
quarry
here
is
for that?
just above us.
The Norco demo? when
I
they
don't
were
think I
taking
came to the
people?
Norco demo, no.
Okay, that was a pretty cool
That's
one.
cool, yeah.
Yeah, it was a few years ago.
I own a Norco. I love Norco.
Yeah, Norco's great. We carried Norco at the shop for
Okay.
a long time.
Yeah.
And then, well, now Norco went from like private distribution to I think they're with Q now, QVC for suppliers. So
Okay.
we have to run off of like how all that works.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. All that intricacy.
But
I'm not too tuned into that because I've never actually worked at a bike shop, but I know who QPB is, and I have enough bike shop employees / owners /
that's where most,
Proprietors.
yeah, that's where most of the bike shop like supplies comes from.
yeah.
Picking up the trash.
Nice. Got a girl.
Yeah. And the what
Was
is
it someone's grocery list?
No, it's
Oh.
somebody's name and address. I think.
Oh.
Should we go?
It's a sign. Also, the Norco rep that was for like repping the brand in this region. His name's Brad. Super cool dude.
Sweet.
Super rad. Like, really enjoy him. There's, when we bought the bike shop, it was like, what's it called? Like, getting to know all the like reps and like industry and stuff.
Yeah.
And quickly we found like some people are really dope, and then some people are like, most people are really dope, I should say, but like some people you're like, huh?
Are less dope.
You find the ones you want to.
Yeah, and Brad was definitely one of them. So Norco was doing a good thing. I don't know if he's still with them anymore, but
Yeah.
just a little insider stuff.
Yeah, no, that's
what are you
super
doing
cool.
right now for RVMBA and stuff?
Yeah, so my official position is the membership coordinator or director, but I mean, the way I interpret that is just like all things sort of that would be exciting to members and, putting on events that members can come to, providing services, goods, swag, etc. that members would be interested in.
Cool.
Yeah,
How's that
yeah, pretty good. I think I've done it 2, maybe 2.5 years now. So it's
Is it a volunteer role?
Yeah,
Cool.
correct. Yeah, none of us are paid at RVMBA. Something we'd be interested in progressing towards at some point. I think it's just pretty useful as a trail organization to at least have one paid employee.
Yeah.
Trying to like grow and maintain energy there.
And the Siskiyou Mountain Club has been great.
Totally.
Like their progression, and I think they get paid, like Dave gets paid.
Yeah.
Which is cool. Like you want.
Yeah, and then they have all their summer intern sort of positions for trail work, or however they phrase that exactly. But yeah, it's been pretty good. I mean, it's been cool to be involved. I've done a fair amount of organizations before, but never a bike one, and so that was something I was excited to like get involved with. Actually, when I moved here, it was like sort of, I don't know, on my goals or something I was interested in, and then it just sort of worked out that they needed people, and I knew someone who was already on the board, and they told me to come check it out. And yeah, it was good. I also felt like we needed a little younger energy. Yeah, like sort of like I was saying earlier, before we started recording, there's like a lost generation of people in Ashland where there's not a lot of people between like 25 and 40, and we need to bring in some of that stuff that might be missing occasionally. I'm 32. Yeah, 32.
Okay, cool. I thought you were in your 20s.
No, I wish.
Why?
Be a lot less broken. Just for healing purposes.
Yeah. Healing faster in the 20s.
Yeah,
But if you didn't know all the things that you know now.
for sure. Yeah. I'm still the best version of myself I've ever been. I just don't feel that quickly, which is problematic.
When you're sending it super hard.
Yeah, occasionally when you make poor decisions, it can be problematic.
Yeah.
So,
Especially in a sport that's extreme.
Yeah.
I've been grateful enough not to like, I'm pretty reserved when I'm biking. Like I know my limit,
totally.
and therefore I'm
Trying
just out there to flow, not necessarily out there to like hella jump big and rip.
For sure.
But
Yeah, and I've sort of, progressed a little bit more in that direction. One of the other things I was pretty into the last couple of years and didn't do as much last year was racing, just to like go to new places and force myself to like do big bike trips and like drive 8 hours to go somewhere new. So not super serious. I was just in like sport or expert category, but just doing a bunch of races and trying to go like California and Washington to go ride places that I probably wouldn't have fully committed to driving to if I didn't spend the money and sign up for the race. So that was like a cool experience.
That's cool.
Yeah, and then you meet a bunch of people just who live in different areas and from different places.
So you have somewhere to stay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Just see what I think it's pretty informative, especially from like if you're thinking more like organizational background, just to see what other people are building and how they're building trails and like what their access is like, and sort of getting that basis of like, oh, what can you do?
What their process was, how they navigated like government structures or community engagement, funding.
Totally. Yeah, and there's some really cool stuff. Like a good example I think is down in Arcata. There's like the Redwood Coast Mountain Bike Organization, and they have an agreement with a forestry company, and they've built and maintained trails on this forestry company's land. It's
Wow.
really cool, really unique approach, and something where like, oh, if you could implement that, your ability to build trails and then the kind of trails that you can build really expands, because it's forestry land. There's no expectation that that trail will exist forever. It's not like the Forest Service where they want you to build a trail, or even BLM.
Yeah.
They want you to build a trail that will exist forever. It's never gonna meander. It's never gonna change. But like.
And then there's a nice partnership between government and community, and gives access probably to those employees in that work also for fire protection or land management and access otherwise.
Yeah, and I'm not exactly sure how that agreement works. I'm sure there might be some small monetary kickback from the club, but it's it's a pretty cool one.
Yeah.
Good to see what other people are doing and how they're thinking about these sort of things.
I love that. Well, tell us a bit about like who you are, where you came from, and how you first got interested in the outdoors. What was your early exposure to all these things that you do and are now?
Yeah, so important information is that my dad was in the Army, so I sort of always moving. When I was a kid, it was probably like every 2 years on average, 2.5 years maybe even. So pretty frequently. And I feel like I was always sort of connected to the outdoors. Like all my, if I think back to what my earliest memories are, they're all sort of like dealing with the outdoors, and whether that's like, the day they took my training wheels off, or like hanging out in the stream, or like, just like hiking through some random woods with my friends.
Are your parents outdoorsy?
Yeah, for sure. They always enjoyed hiking and skiing and that sort of thing. I wouldn't say that they're like hardcore outdoorsy. They weren't like big campers or backpackers or anything like that, but definitely, as they grew up, they were doing stuff like that with their families.
And were you growing up in more like rural environments, or were you in a city and sneaking out to?
Sort of finding those nice pockets, I would say. It was more like city or suburban. I lived on a lot of military bases, and those tend to actually have really good outdoor areas because the development is so controlled or structured, I guess you might say. It's all controlled by a single entity. So there's these really nice pockets of outdoor space that are always like super close to your house. So I think that was helpful. And yeah, I always loved like streams and rivers. That was always like a big calling to me as a kid, just going down to the river and playing around.
What was your river that you had your first river exposure to?
That's honestly a great question.
We only ask great questions.
Yeah, I honestly couldn't even tell you, because I was pretty young, and it was probably less of a river and more of a stream or a brook or whatever you want to use a small waterway name is, whatever your favorite small waterway name is.
Wait, is it creek or crick?
Crick. I would say creek, but if you're out in the country, you definitely say crick to make sure you are. To make sure you're in the good.
Right?
On the
A
creek.
brook or a brook. What?
Yeah, how do you differentiate between a creek, stream, brook?
So I think a brook is just like a northeastern term. Like,
Okay.
you never see brook unless it's like in the northeast. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't think I've ever seen, like, looked at a topo map and seen a named brook in the West Coast.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. That's my
On a
understanding.
topo, it's over there.
Yeah. You would see it over there. Or like run. Run is another East Coast one. They'll be like bull run or cat run or whatever. And that's like bigger than a brook.
Okay.
It's like, I think usually bigger than a stream even.
So there's size and region dependent.
Region, slang,
In the
Yeah.
West is always stream. Or creek.
stream or creek.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a stream would be smaller than a creek?
Vaguely, but I don't think that's well defined in the literature.
Okay. That's fair.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, generally.
Yeah.
Cool.
These are the hard pressing questions that we find ourselves wondering late at night.
Now, do you fish?
Yeah, so I used to fish a decent amount, and then I started doing a lot of fish work, and was catching fish all the time. So the prospect of like fishing to not eat was not as exciting for me anymore. So yeah, I would say the last like 5 or 6 years, kind of like as I was doing a lot more fish work, going to grad school, after grad school, yada yada. I haven't done that much fishing, but yeah, if there's an opportunity to catch something and keep it, like I'm into that. I'm just less excited to go catch a fish because I was like catching a lot of fish already. Measuring, assessing.
Yeah, what the heck? That's our official mascot is Heather's Fish Flops.
Anyway, let's run back to like growing up and stuff. You grew up on the north of the
Totally.
traveling around a bunch, and she kind of kicked it off there and tangent out.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've kind of lived all over. Like, I was born in Washington State, actually, but I've lived all over the U.S. As a kid, I lived in Korea for 4 years in 2 different places, Seoul and Busan. And then I lived in Japan on Okinawa for 2.5 years. So, yeah, had pretty good exposure to like a bunch of different areas and cultures and geographies. Which is really cool. Yeah, I quite enjoy moving and traveling. I think because of that, I'm like comfortable doing it. I guess would be another way to phrase that. So, yeah.
Hi.
And then, you know, as an adult, I've sort of always been moving about. I went to undergrad in Colorado, grad school in Utah,
Do we want to sit up here?
Oregon, and
Let's look nice and quiet and
yeah.
flat.
So you also moved around quite a bit for university.
Yeah.
Cool. That's exciting. I
Yeah,
always
yeah.
like to hear when people are like doing abroad studies within there. It's not like, oh, I hunkered down at Southern Oregon University and just got it done. No, you were.
We could even sit on the rocks, sit on the logs.
That's cool.
I love it.
I'm into that.
I'm into it too.
We don't have to set up chairs if we don't want to.
It's like there's already a drum circle for.
Yeah, fire circle.
Definitely a little
How's
hang
that?
out over here.
Yeah.
How's it look?
Good. A little.
I've never actually been up there. Up the draw. It probably, so there's the like old road that people call like Pioneer Way or something. Mm-hmm. Gravel. Which probably just leads to that, I imagine.
Okay. Yeah, I remember when I came up. I feel like I came up here biking randomly when I first got into the sport, and I was like, wait, everybody says you can just like ride up Lithia Park and get into the trail system. And like, I feel like I caught one of these and I'm like, wait, where do I go? And I just ended up like riding around Lithia Park because I couldn't like find the road to get up to the, you know, the gravel road up. So I didn't come down. I didn't have a map or anything. We were just winging it, raw dogging.
Just trying to see where you can take yourself.
Yeah, it was funny.
You gonna be on his left?
Huh?
You gonna sit to his left,
Over here.
or on that one,
Yeah.
or on that one?
Yeah, I like that. And I'll just rearrange this.
Hold, please. Tell me when we're.
Tripod.
This one, it's so nice because there's no clipping, so I don't pinch my fingers, which is exactly what happens.
I love this little nature setup we've found.
Very cute.
That's exactly the right word. It is very cute. It's very Ashland. This feels very, very appropriate.
This feels Ashland core.
Yeah. Good? Happy?
Yeah.
Stoked?
Heck yes. Okay.
Booyah.
How's that look? Oh, that looks wonderful.
We just look beautiful and cute.
We're real close together.
So fun.
Yeah.
Filling that frame up.
Yeah, and like, look at the camera as much as feels comfortable to you, but also like, we're the homies shooting the shit, so
Yeah.
talk to us too.
Doesn't have to be,
Yeah.
really focused.
Yeah.
How long have you had long hair?
A long time.
Yeah, it's
Pretty
kind of
much
your identity.
always. Yeah.
Identity
I've cut it a
vibe.
couple times, but yeah, even as like a little kid, I just remember being like, I want to have long hair. So when I was probably like 12, I started growing my hair out.
Cool.
And then, yeah, I've obviously cut
yeah.
it
I
many
admire
times
you.
since then. But yeah, it's sort of fun. And every time I cut my hair, I find that it's actually more work to have short hair and have it like
Decent.
look decent, because A, you have to cut your hair all the time, and part of the reason I have long hair is I hate haircuts. And then B, like, it's just more difficult to get it back into a normal looking shape after you like sleep on your head at night or whatever.
Relatable. I just cut my hair from like here to here like a week ago, and while it feels very normal of like, oh yeah, this is what I've needed, I'm also like, I still don't know what to do with it. Like, thanks.
For sure.
Thanks.
I always admire people with hair because I have 2 strands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have very thin hair.
For
Very
sure.
fine.
I feel like we have
Delicate.
comparably thick hair.
Yeah, my hair was like always very like, yeah, what is that called? Voluminous.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, when I lived in Okinawa is like a subtropical island because it's not quite in the tropics, but there's like coral and shit. Like, it's pretty crazy. It's extremely humid. I had like an afro. I was like, just like so much humidity in my hair.
With long hair too.
Yeah. I was in middle school, so I was probably like 13 or something like that with my little afro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where do your parents reside now?
They live in Virginia, so yeah. I went
Still
to high
in
school.
military.
Sort of.
Okay.
Yeah, my dad pulled a classic. Like, he retired from the army, and now he works for the army as a civilian. But yeah, I went to high school outside of DC in Springfield, Virginia, Fairfax County, which was pretty cool. But they still live there, which is mind-blowing for me because they moved there in 2008. So it's been like almost
Some roots.
Yeah,
20
almost
years.
20
Which
years.
is pretty wild because my whole life, like prior to that, yeah. I mean, I could do the average, but it was probably like 2 years that we lived in any given place on average.
Yeah.
And then they've lived there for a really long time for a variety of reasons. But yeah, it's cool. I actually really enjoy DC. It's a really cool city. It has really good public transit. So even where I live, like pretty far out of the city, if you measured, as the crow flies, you could get some public transit and get to the city. And there's tons of free stuff to do, which is really cool. Yeah,
That's cool.
just good.
Big old metropolitan, lots of things.
Yeah.
Activity.
And it's also weird because it's quite big, but it's quite short. Like, none of the buildings are tall. You're not allowed to build tall buildings in DC. So like everything's under like 8 stories or something. Yeah.
That makes it
Grand
feel,
skies.
dude. That's funny. But that makes it feel a lot like more
Shout out Redwood Towers. Let's go.
Yeah. we get 4 stories in Grants Pass.
That's all she wrote.
Yeah, you can't really talk. There's only one.
Yeah.
They built it over 100 years
True.
ago. So.
Well, same with Medford too. I mean, Medford doesn't really have super tall
Yeah.
anything either. I mean,
Just
we're
the-
kind
We
of
were more sprawl
Yeah.
versus tall.
Yeah.
We had unlimited space.
It's my urban planning background.
Let's go.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's a cool, like, I've always dreamt of, like, traveling as, like, a kid.
Yeah.
And I want to bring that to my kids, but we're in a really funky season of life right now, but
Totally.
I admire that. I feel like it will give my son Cruz a lot of like perspective on life, and so he's not such a dick.
Yeah.
Because he's a little turd. He's like 10.
Yeah. That'll happen to any 10-year-old.
Yeah,
Sure.
most. If you're not kind of a dick or a turd when you're 10, you're maybe kind of fucking up
Yeah.
because you're not expressing yourself.
Or you're just on a crazy different life path.
Yeah.
Definitely not one I took. That's for sure.
Yeah, so you, let's go back to kind of your childhood and
Yeah.
how getting into the outdoors was happening for you.
Totally, yeah, and I think it kind of moves back to the moving thing. Is like, I have a younger brother. He's like 3 years younger than me, but 4 years younger than me in school. So we were like buddies, but like we weren't like super close because we were pretty far apart, developmentally, especially as children.
Yes.
So I feel like the outside for me was just like I always had a friend if I moved somewhere different, which was just like go outside and mess around. And on
The outdoors being the friend.
yeah. And then on military
And
bases,
to get away from him a little bit?
not necessarily to get away from him, but
Okay.
just because like I was, like a kid with a lot of energy and like wanted to go do shit.
Right.
And being on a military base, there's always a bunch of other kids. And so it was like the friend was always a found friend. First you could go outside and go into nature, but then like pretty much instantly you'd find someone else and be able to meet them and like build a relationship with someone who probably lived like 4 doors away from you and also had just moved there more than likely.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that was part of the draw, but also it was just like really fun to be outside. I've always loved exploring and just like going into an area unknown. So I think the outdoors and nature really like tripped that urge for me of like, oh, every day could be different. There's no, there are some trails, but there's no set path that you have to take. You can just like wander through the woods and go find a stream. And then, as I got older and got more excited on things like biking or like skiing, snowboarding, that kind of thing, it was just like sort of all tied in where like you could get adrenaline from it too. You could get some hype, some built-in hype from just like going fast or doing jumps or
The high that you get.
Yeah.
Hype or high.
both. Yeah.
You put the high in hype.
Probably both.
Yeah, totally.
So
Were you seeking out those like snowboarding and those kind of adrenaline sports, or were your parents introducing them to you, or like how did even awareness or opportunity or exposure come for those?
Totally. So my parents are skiers, but I wouldn't say that they're necessarily like adrenaline skiers. They're like pretty classic skiers. Like they really enjoy skiing, but they would never be the one who would be like, we're going to the terrain park. So I think it was just like being a 90s kid and like being exposed to like extreme sports culture or whatever you want to say on TV.
X Games.
Yeah, X Games for sure. And like that whole thing, like I remember before I ever snowboarded, I was like, snowboarding is the coolest thing ever. And it was just from like the media. That I consumed.
Video game or
Sure, yeah. Video games, yeah, like
That's
SSX Tricky. And yeah, I remember playing like Sean Palmer's pro snowboarding as like a little kid and just be like, this is the coolest thing ever.
Well, a lot of times I feel like skateboarding is like a gateway to the skateboarding is a gateway to snowboarding
Totally.
and stuff. Because like once you're exposed to that sort of culture, you're like, oh, well, it's winter now. And it's that's kind of how I started when I was snowboarding as a kid or whatever. But
yeah, for me, I've tried skateboarding and I should do more of it, but I'm a pretty shitty skateboarder. It was like surfing and snowboarding were my like kind of tandem. I like
or surfing, thing.
First learned like surfing when I was in Okinawa, so I was like 12 or 13, and that was really cool. And yeah, loved that.
Well,
And
it
then
sounds like your parents were really encouraging though of those things. Like,
for
you
sure.
found something you're interested in, and like let's facilitate that for you.
My parents were really, they were happy for me to do literally anything that I was excited on or expose me to things that I was maybe less excited on.
They're bugging the hair.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, thanks. So yeah, that was really cool. I mean, they were great for that. They held me back one time, and this goes back to my brother. Like we were pretty competitive, but it was very unfair competition because I was much older.
Right.
So like they wanted a sport that he could play, so he started playing hockey, and they wouldn't let me play hockey for like 2 or 3 years.
Like,
So
let
that it
him
was like
have it.
Yeah.
so it was his sport. But no, eventually I started playing hockey, and that was like kind of my main sport for a long time in terms of like team sports. I played like football and some soccer and stuff like that, and like that too. But hockey was definitely the one I was like actually into.
Stoked on.
Yeah, football got too serious. Like they were like, right after freshman football, they were like, "Cool, we're gonna go to the gym," and I was like, "The gym? I don't do that. Like that's not me."
I'm gonna go train off time.
Yeah, that's not me. So I quit.
I don't want to go inside to exercise. Outdoor exerciser.
Absolutely.
I still struggle with the gym. I'm old enough that I need to go to the gym, I think, to like keep some good health
Movement,
things
yeah.
going. But
Build muscle mass.
yeah, exactly. But I don't know what it is about the gym environment, but I have just never liked the feeling of going to the gym.
We need more outdoor gym,
Yeah.
Vibe.
in every other country I've ever been to, and maybe you saw this also, though I think it's more modern, more recent. There are parks with outdoor workout equipment that use body weight, and there's no like plates and bars, but they're usually full of people working out, doing exercise, doing chest presses and rows and outside.
Totally. Yeah, military bases actually have a lot of those because they're so focused on like fitness and you have to pass your fitness test or whatever. So there's definitely those like body weight outdoor adult jungle gym kind of things like, all over the place on military bases.
Emily's into the adult jungle gym.
Yeah, like why stop playing? Like that's how our bodies start to break down, and we lose possibilities and potential. It's because we think that play is only for children on a playground, but we just scale the playground to adult size and keep those skills going, keep playing.
I think there's a movement coming around.
Yeah.
Actually. Like that's a whimsy,
Movement.
movement. But,
we are all definitely trying to reclaim our youth and childhood and realizing like,
maybe
wow,
it's
why
just
did we
this
cut
space
ourselves
of, like,
off?
Maybe it's just the 30s that are like, we're kind of in between. We're not quite young. We're not quite old. It's like this middle ground, and that's just what it is. Like, we're just entering the space where that's a thing.
But I think it's definitely our generation being like, because I think people in their 30s, a generation or two ago, they maybe they weren't cut off from play like we were. Like my parents were still being river guides and playing and active and doing all of that. But then there was a break in that where it was like, no, you got to get serious and go to work and go to an office and
raise kids.
Yeah. And we're like, whoa, actually, no, like we want to be able to keep playing with our kids. So, or those of you who have kids, like want to keep being able to play with them. So have to stay active and.
Yep. I'm coming back into that right now.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. You gotta,
Gotta stay fit to keep up with the kids.
Yeah. And also just like, roller skating looks fun.
Yeah.
It's like, I just want to do something. I'm just like, I want to do.
Yeah, when I put my rollerblades on, over the summer, my roommate's car, my car, she was driving my car, broke down like 2 miles from our house.
Dang it.
And I was like, well, don't have another way to get to you. I'm going to rollerblade to you. And it was...
without a bike?
Yeah, I'm more comfortable in the rollerblades. But
You dropped your bike off at the bike shop. Please try to sell this.
Get this out of here.
Yeah, I was like, but I put the rollerblades on and it felt like riding a bike. Like it all just came back to me, even though I hadn't done it in 20 years. Cool. But it was like, I can fucking do this. My body remembers how to do this. And I rollerbladed 2 miles uphill. It was fucking awesome.
I'm so bad at the 4x4 rollerblades. I'm much better at roller skates. But rollerblades have always...
You're not a fruit booter?
Just a second away from disaster, it always feels like.
Dude, I want to try roller skating.
Mm-hmm.
That seems like, it's kind of coming back into style and stuff like that.
Totally.
Because I grew up fruit booting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we were sitting in the parking lot waiting, and an older gentleman rollerbladed by with sticks, with like walking sticks.
That's
I was like, that's sick. Okay, so back to you, Marshall.
No, that's great. I'm all in.
So why Ashland? Like,
how'd you end up in Southern Oregon?
Okay, so Southern Oregon. I was always super interested in the state of Oregon.
Were you here at all in childhood, or like how
never been.
did Oregon come across your
Oregon just
radar?
seemed cool. It had a bunch of stuff that I was excited on. It's big for snowboarding because of Mount Hood. It's got lots of big trees. It's got mountains. It's got the ocean. I was just stoked on Oregon. I actually applied to go to the University of Oregon when I was an undergrad, and that didn't work out for whatever reason. And so when I was finishing up undergrad, I was like, oh, it'd be cool to move to Oregon because I'm looking for a job and I don't really have, I can go anywhere. I'm a free bird. I can go anywhere. So I applied to a couple jobs in Oregon and I actually got a job surveying for marbled murrelets, which was a really interesting summer.
What is that?
Yeah, so marbled murrelet is like an endangered seabird that nests in old growth forests in trees that have like really big limbs. They're like a ghetto bird that doesn't build a nest.
And say ghetto bird.
Yeah. They're like, they're a bird who's like evolutionarily hasn't produced the ability to build its own nest. So
Just steals nests from other birds, or
they
just like
they just
posts up
find a
where
spot that's like, this will hold an egg. They lay it. So what they're dependent on then is like old growth trees that have those like really big, like primary branches that come off that can, like, hold an egg. And so they're protected from like a forestry standpoint. Like those forests are protected, and if you're going to log those forests, you have to survey for them. It's mandated because they're on the endangered species list. So I worked for a company where we were surveying like BLM lands, a little bit of private timberland for murrelets, which just involves showing up stupid early. Like a lot of times I'd start work. It was 45 minutes before sunrise, but it's in the summer, so I'd start work at like 3:40 in the morning or something.
Morning person.
No, yeah, opposite.
morning job.
Opposite.
Forced to be.
Yeah, that job taught me to drink lots of coffee. So yeah, my MO, because I'm not a morning person, is I would just sleep in my car right next to where I had to survey. I could wake up at the absolute like latest moment possible and still make it to my survey spot on time.
Is that the beginning of being a dirtbag?
Yeah, I mean, I had already been, introduced to the ways before that, especially like for trips and stuff like that. But yeah, kind of fully embraced it in that moment for sure. Yeah, the company I worked for like rented me a house, and I think I slept in it like 12 times.
Wow.
Was it a fun job surveying, like being out there? How does that work? Like you just like...
You see the right tree and you look to see if there's a bird in it. And
I'm trying to think of the exact phrase they use for that type of survey. Essentially there's a point that they generate and you survey from that point, and a lot of it is auditory because they make a really distinct call when they're returning to their tree, because a lot of times you're in a forest that's like way more enclosed than this, and like seeing the bird would be quite difficult. There's actually a really good spot if you go to Redwood National Park. There's like that Newton B. Drury Highway or whatever that cuts through it. And there's big meadows, and there's a bunch of murrelets that nest there. So if you stand in those meadows at the right time of year, you can see them, but that's like one of the special spots. Like most of the time when you're surveying, you can't really see them.
Yeah, where specifically were you, like, was it all over the place in Southern Oregon?
Yeah, so I was near Coquille, and like
Beautiful.
sort of that zone around there was doing a bunch of surveys, and I did that for, it was like 3 months, I think, 3-month job. Which was pretty neat, yeah. And I got to go up to the North Coast a little bit and do some surveys out there. And it was a good experience. But it's a temporary job, right? And so I took a job actually after that with Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife in Gold Beach, where we were, that was a crazy job. We were catching, returning fall Chinook like 7 miles up the Rogue River from Gold Beach using a giant seine net. So it was like a 300-foot long net that we'd pull upstream against the current and then loop back around and then pull it back to the gravel bar, the cobble bar essentially, with our boat. We do like 10 of those per day, and they use that to estimate the returning run of fall Chinook.
I see how many are in the net.
Exactly,
Wow.
the whole Rogue River.
I was always curious about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you tagging them at all or just
We
counting?
would occasionally tag them. So if they were a hatchery fish, and you know it's a hatchery fish because there's the last fin on the back of a salmon or salmonid is the adipose fin, and hatchery fish, they cut the adipose fin off. So if it's a hatchery fish, we tag it because theoretically that's going to return to the hatchery, and then they could know like how many days it took them to get up there or whatever. But the main goal for this project was just estimating and enumerating returning fall Chinook, and then half pounders, which are juvenile steelhead. The Rogue River has this unique life history where juvenile steelhead will actually emigrate out of the river into the estuary, hang out there for a couple months, and then come back into the river, which is really unique. It only happens in like 3 different rivers. One's the Rogue, one's the Klamath, and then the other is like on the Kamchatka Peninsula in Russia.
Wow.
Anyway, so that was like the point of that project, is to like get numbers for half pounders and fall Chinook. Yeah, and we catch a bunch of other things. Like we catch, one of the coolest things, and I have some photos, is like a juvenile green sturgeon. So like,
Cool.
like this big, just like so freaking sharp little dinosaurs, like the craziest colors ever. What else? Some non-native fish we'd catch and then occasionally try and feed to an osprey. There's an osprey that like has built a nest right above where this operation happens, so we'd always try and give them.
Did you get to name them?
I didn't name him. I maybe had a name.
I name everything.
Yeah.
I just call all ospreys Aussies.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Aussie. Yeah, and then what else? Every now and then we catch a sea lion, which was kind of scary. And
In the net?
yeah, not the sickest. They like swim upstream to try and catch the fish, and they certainly knew about the operation too. So they were definitely like,
Yeah.
trying
They
to
saw where the
catch.
fish were accumulating.
Injured at all, or was
No,
it
not
just-
typically.
Or would you get injured?
Yeah, I mean that's the scary part.
Yeah.
They're kind of fired up when they get brought to shore on a net.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
They are not the chillest animals.
Not the chillest, yeah. And then adult steelhead. That was like the other big one that we'd catch. So
Said a boo in my-
yeah, so I did that,
Sick.
and at that time I was like being a ski bum in the winter, so I'd work at Snowmass in Colorado in the winter. So I did that right before that summer. And then the next summer, I've always loved snorkeling. Like one of my like nature's so cool memories is when we were living in Korea when I was a kid. We went to Australia with my parents and got to go snorkeling at the Great Barrier Reef, and was just like, this is freaking insane. What the hell is this? So I've always loved snorkeling. So I applied for this job to be a stream surveyor, which is where you go to these random spots and random streams and hike up the stream. You enumerate the habitat, so you're like counting up all the pieces of wood and measuring the pools and like calculating the volume of water in the pools and all that. But then you're also snorkeling through and counting all the fish.
Rad.
Yeah, exactly. So I applied to this job, which has positions all over Oregon, and they were like, where do you want to go? And I was like, I don't really know. Like, I don't have any particular connections. So I was like, I knew that summer that I had been here working the Merlet job and catching the adult fish. I had come to the Rogue Valley once or twice and been like, oh, this is pretty cool. So I was like, I'll work down here or put me somewhere random. And they ended up putting me here. So it was like, oh, sweet. This place is awesome. Really got to integrate more, living here all summer and going to a ton of different streams. That's the coolest part about that job, is you just go to these places you would never, ever, ever go to because they're just like, here's a dot on the map. Like, good luck. Go get there. Survey for 1 kilometer.
Yeah.
That's the kind of exploring I love to do. I'm just like, I want to get to that spot, and I gotta like do all this crazy like navigation to get there.
Yeah.
So cool.
Such a cool job. And then just had a great
Did you get
summer.
to see like lots of waterfalls that are just like in the middle of nowhere, and you're like, this is the most gorgeous thing ever, and like nobody will ever, because there's no trail here.
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah. It's like
love that.
not on the map. You would never know if you had not just gone to it and showed up. And
Take us to one sometime off camera.
No, honestly, that was like part of my thought process with I know a lot of like weird, cool streams.
Yeah.
Go to this
Is that part of like when you're trying to like maybe pick up women or people? I don't know if you're straight or gay, so sorry. But if you're picking up a person, I don't. I mean,
That's okay. That's okay.
I'm trying to be very 2026.
But what you're asking is that somewhere you would take somebody on like a first date?
Hey, I know there's a really cool spot.
Yes.
And hopefully they trust you enough to not think that you're going to take them in the woods and leave them there. Like,
Yeah. So I have an awesome girlfriend, Caitlin. We've been together since I was working at Snowmass. So since
Cool.
like 2017 or
So
16,
she
a long
knows.
time. She knows. I've taken her to many streams. I've forced her to work for me for no pay in some streams. She's all about the streams.
Cool.
hell yeah.
Well acquainted with the hey, we're going to a random stream today vibe.
Yeah, good for her.
Yeah. Yeah, we went to, there's this really cool, it's the Middle Fork of the Rogue River. And it was when I was working the same job. We went up there to the wilderness area. And there's a sweet trail.
By like Union Creek.
Yeah,
Up
yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah. So it's a little bit on the map. It would be south of Union Creek. There's like Red Blanket Creek, and then there's the Middle Fork of the Rogue. So we hiked up that and had a survey to do up there. And it's this crazy old growth forest, but it's been burned. So there's all these like massive 100-foot like standing snags. And she was out there with me and my survey partner at the time. And it was like only minorly windy, but this huge freaking snag fell over, and
Oh my
it was just
God.
like, oh my God, we would have so died if we were like right there. It would have been
Wow.
This is the classic, like, it's pretty scary.
Yeah.
That's why they're called widowmakers.
Yep.
Boom.
A man locally recently just had a branch
Yeah.
fall and he's in a coma, and
Totally.
like,
Totally.
it's terrible.
Yeah, I heard about that.
We're pretty safe here. I think we're pretty safe here.
Yeah.
So what do they do with
Absolutely.
the survey information?
Okay, so the project I was working for was called AQI, which is Aquatic Inventories. And the project was formed because coho salmon were declining throughout Oregon, but particularly in southern Oregon and northern California, there's a distinct genetic population. So they were interested in understanding where coho are rearing, what their habitat trend is over time, and then as we go in and try to improve their habitat, what the response is to that, what the population level response is to that. Coho are a good species for that because they're on a very consistent 3-year life cycle, and so like you can pretty well know that the big years should match across time on that 3-year interval, because when you have a big returner year, they produce a lot of eggs into the gravel. So if you're surviving, you should also have a lot of juveniles at that time. So, yeah, that was the main sort of focus of that project. But we were collecting data on everything that was there. So we're also collecting data on juvenile Chinook and steelhead, and that data is pretty important here in the Rogue River because there's no one else essentially going out there to collect it, the Rogue River Basin, that is. And steelhead are sort of like what the...
While we swap a battery, here's a quick shout out to the crew who makes our dirt days possible, the Rogue Valley Mountain Bike Association. If you've ridden a trail anywhere around Southern Oregon and thought, dang, this is good, chances are they had a hand in it. They're out there digging, advocating, and protecting access so we can keep riding wild. If you love the trails, don't just ride them, support them. Head to rvmba.org and get involved. That's rvmba.org, because great trails don't build themselves. And now, back to the show.
When we started this project, will you flip that over to?
Yeah. We're back.
We're back. But it was too bulky. It's like,
Yeah.
this is easiest.
We were like trying to walk around with a DSLR camera on a tripod and get our like wide angle lens, and just like
heavy
arms
as
were
hell.
falling. And then
Yeah.
we tried to set up multiple cameras with multiple angles. We were like, this is going to be a pain in the ass for
Also,
editing.
While we have him here, because that will be our commercial break, should we promote the trail, the mountain biking?
RVMBA.
Yeah.
A commercial for, and be
Commercial
like,
break.
Yeah.
hit up Marshall for a
Sweet.
membership.
Yeah.
Even though we have not talked about trails or nothing.
Well, we can get there soon. We should get there soon.
Anywho,
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, I was talking-
Steelhead.
Oh yeah, so the Rogue Rivers, steelhead is sort of what the Rogue River is well known for, especially from like a fishing and guiding perspective, is like lots of steelhead you can catch them at multiple life stages. So like I was saying before, there's the half pounder life stage where they're like usually under a foot in length. It's like catching trout. I mean, steelhead are trout, but it's like catching trout. And then there's also the full grown adults. That's like the sick picture with the big fish. It's one of the few places that you can actually retain wild steelhead still on the West Coast, because most of the steelhead populations have been in decline or fully listed on the Endangered Species Act as either threatened or endangered, which is somewhat controversial depending on who you talk to.
Their listing or
the fact that you can still retain adult wild steelhead in the Rogue River Basin. Yeah. So I forget exactly where I was going with all of that, but that's the.
I had asked. What they do with the survey information.
Yeah. So steelhead are important. That's where I was going, because we have both summer and winter steelhead in the Rogue River, which is not all basins have that, and summer steelhead are pretty interesting. And there's actually a lot of them around Grants Pass that spawn in these intermittent creeks that like only flow in the winter. And so they go up into the creeks, they spawn, they hatch, and then essentially as soon as they lose their egg sac and they become like fingerling, fry, they will emigrate out of the creek that they were born in, usually back to the main river, but sometimes to a different creek or a different stream, which is uncommon. Typically you think of salmon and steelhead as rearing in the stream where they were born, like rearing relatively close to where they were produced, where they spawned at. So that summer life history is like pretty cool, pretty unique. And it really utilizes like the unique nature of the Rogue Valley, where we have this sort of savanna transition zone where we have lots of creeks that flow in the winter, but just have no water in the summer. So it's like a cool evolutionary or ecological adaptation to that hydrograph, where they're utilizing habitat that would not be available if they didn't emigrate.
Smart. Like how intelligent of a...
Fish are fucking brilliant.
Yeah, fish are cool.
Like,
fish are pretty cool.
We think that some people think that they're just like dumb creatures, but they are ancient and brilliant and really big indicators of what is happening in an ecosystem.
Totally. Yeah, they're the classic, like, what is that, like, they aggregate everything below them. So, like, if the insects are doing poorly because of X, Y, Z, like, you'll see it in the fish. Or, like, if you poured a bunch of pollution into the stream, you'll see it in the fish. Like, if you logged all the forest and there's no more forest, you'll see it in the fish. Yeah. Or vice versa, if you do a bunch of restoration work,
you'll see it in the fish.
See it in the fish.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So.
Very interesting.
Yeah, so that was the first time I moved here. I moved here a second time to essentially do the same thing the next year because it was so great. I worked a job at UC Berkeley that was cool and paid a decent amount of money, but didn't really love the job, liked living in Berkeley. And so I was in the process of applying to grad school. I had gotten into grad school, so I was like, I don't even have to care about what my job is. I just need to make money and have fun. I'm going to move back to Southern Oregon. So I took that same job the next year, did the same thing. The first year I lived in Talent. Second year I lived in Ashland. That was awesome. Had a great summer. Then, so that was like 2018. Then I went to grad school, lived in Logan, Utah for 4.5 years. It's quite good. Had a really cool project. I was mainly working in grad school with stream restoration. So I was really interested from doing this survey job of like how beavers influence stream ecosystems. That was like something that like got onto my mind and was really like, in terms of research, really exciting and popular, and people wanted to put money into that. And then the other thing that was interesting along that same line was beaver dam analogs, or mimicking beaver. And so I kind of built my own project where I was trying to understand if there was a difference in natural beaver complexes to beaver dam analog complexes, and if there was a difference in terms of like how they were functioning, like what the difference was. So I had a couple different projects that were like chapters or whatever in my dissertation that were looking at that from a few different angles. I was looking at it from like an amphibian perspective, looked at it from more of a sort of holistic ecology perspective, where we actually did an experiment and like measured before and after at control sites, impact sites, where we were building these beaver dam analogs, and then also at a natural beaver complex in the same location. That was like all around Park City in Utah. And then I had one other chapter where we were looking at how bull trout migrated through beaver dams, and like what the sort of flow of their migration and what dams they could get over, and whether they were being impeded by beaver dams at all. At a stream in Montana, bull trout are unique that they're a char species, which means like a brown trout or a brook trout, they migrate in the fall, which can be the lowest time in terms of like water in the stream. So there's been a lot of concern from both like recreational fishers and some fisheries managers that, like bull trout are going to get stuck below beaver dams and they won't be able to migrate up to the good spawning habitat.
But do they?
Yeah, typically. I mean, there's a sort of there's an obsession in a lot of ways with fish ecology that I think is just a poor understanding of fish, that fish should be able to move wherever they want at any time, which just isn't realistic. Like Ashland Creek's a great example. There's natural barriers in Ashland Creek in the summer because there's just not enough water. And so it's like,
but it doesn't mean you should go in there and move the rocks around and channelize it.
Dynamite it so that fish can move everywhere at all times. Like that's not a realistic expectation. And what we found in that project was that by and large, bull trout were getting past beaver dams of varying sizes. And there was actually, we had a data set from an experimental like removal of beaver dams. It's really, really interesting, where even after you removed the beaver dams, the fish were still spawning in areas that were below beaver dams after they were like dynamited out, which to me is indicating that like, sure, they might be blocked occasionally, but below beaver dams is actually just really good spawning habitat because you have sorted gravel, you have well oxygenated water, and then you have like an area that's clear of detritus or like other sort of inhibitors to building a fish nest because of that like pouring over water that's like just cutting and churning all that crap out. So yeah, that was the 2-minute rundown on my
Wow.
How you? Damn.
So then
That's really interesting.
Yeah, I'm like locked in. Like I feel like I'm in a great lecture of like.
I love me some fish. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. I grew up. My dad's a fisher. You know, he's a fisherman.
He's hyped on it.
And yeah, he's hyped on it and like hunting and conservation of the land and like stuff like that. So it's really cool to get that. Like, I can't wait. I want to be like, you need to listen to this episode, Dad.
Yeah.
Like, it's really interesting. Really cool. Really cool.
Are you involved with the Beaver Project here at all, or with Vesper Meadow or any of those groups?
A little bit. So I'll jump into the third time that I moved here. I moved here to work for Oregon Fish and Wildlife again, this time as a permanent employee who was like, essentially my job was to supervise and organize the efforts to collect data on several different projects about various salmonids throughout their life histories in the Rogue watershed. So that included like...
What's salmon?
Salmon.
Salmon, okay. But salmon, steelhead, trout, like any... Like their... Yeah, mountain whitefish, just like their... what would the word for that be? Their family, the above genus.
Okay.
Above species, above genus, the family.
Like a ceramicist.
Yeah.
You're a turd. Don't ever say ceramicist again.
Ceramicist.
We were talking about, sorry to put a, we were talking about ceramics. Like, so like my background in my very limited college, I like was going to school to be like ceramic major, art major. And, she's all, ceramicist. And I'm like, you're either a sculptor or a potter, like a clay artist. It's not ceramics.
But like if you do both, like if you just do all sorts of things with ceramics, like...
I give it to Emily because she makes up wonderful names for everything.
Thank you.
Totally. Someone's got to be there to define the new language. Right?
Yeah, like ceramicist is the family of those who do ceramics, whether they're potters or whatever, like...
Yeah, we can't have stagnant language. We've got to be inventing new words.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
You can't let kids just invent stupid words.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
Skibbity toilet or whatever the fuck.
Oh, that's like real young.
Yeah.
Cabin.
Whatever that is.
I have a 10-year-old, so it's like I hear it all the time.
Ceramicist actually has like
Some sort of
intellectual,
actual meaning. Some
Totally.
sort of actual meaning that could be applied.
Yeah,
Awareness
it's
to it.
ceramics artist, ceramicist.
Ceramicist.
Anyway, so back to the salmonids.
The salmonids. Salmonids. Right.
Oh, okay.
One of my favorite is if you really want to talk with someone when they're
Yes.
looking at like a snake or like a toad or something, you say, "Wow, that's a really nice reptile."
Reptile, you would say that.
Reptile.
Reptile, baby. Very close to
Walk into PetSmart. Hey, I'm just looking for some reptiles. Got any reptiles?
Like, where are you from? I'm gonna do that though. Yeah.
Mispronunciation.
Yeah.
Intentional or unintentional.
Creek or crick? Yeah. Is it a reptile or a reptile?
Reptiles always.
I think I might call my bunghole from now on a reptile. Reptile. Wipe that reptile. I'm gonna tell my son. He's gonna be like, "What the fuck?"
Be like, what?
He won't say that word, but he'll be like, "What?"
He will in his head.
Yeah, he will. He's a dirty kid.
Yeah. Takes after his mother.
As
Yeah.
you are, as a 10-year-old.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we moved
Love that for
moved
us.
back to Southern Oregon. Oh yeah, I was doing sort of organizing field crews, collecting data, managing data, analyzing data. Because I had the beaver experience, I was interfacing with Vesper Meadow on a couple different fronts.
Great strip club name.
Yeah.
Beaver experience.
I mean, you'll be happy to know that the state of Oregon was like, you really need to register your vehicle in Oregon. You need to have an Oregon license plate because you're a state employee. And I was like, all right, cool. I was like, well, I need to get the salmon plate because like I'm a salmon boy. It's a great license plate. And I was like, well, I kind of want to get a custom plate. Like, why not? Like, I'm already going to pay for the salmon plate. So I was like, I did a beaver project. It would be pretty funny if I got the license plate like Beaver Boy or something like that. So I you can't pre-order it. You just have to go into the DMV and they're like, what plate do you want? I was like, Beaver Boy. And they were like, taken. I was like, how about with an I? They were like, taken. I was like, oh yeah, OSU, they are the Beavers.
Yeah.
It's probably a little too obvious. I was like, what about with the number 1 at the end? Taken. I was like, all right, cool. What else could we do? And it just hit me naturally in the DMV. So I have the license plate Beaver Slap.
Hell yeah.
And I now call my car the Beaver Slapper.
The beaver slap. Yes.
with the Coho plate. It's wonderful. It's wonderful.
Great mashup.
Yeah.
Clap
Yeah.
out Subaru is
Do
the
I like
Beaver
the
Slapper.
Hell yeah. That's also, since Subarus are pretty notoriously like lesbian vehicles. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Do women see you driving with your long hair flowing out the window, beaver slap license plate?
Probably. I gotta pay more attention. Maybe I need to get like a camera set up so I can record other people's reaction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be hours of entertainment, I'm sure.
Yeah. Some good TikToks.
I'm sure there's some good reactions. Wait, what?
We're gonna video it when we go down.
Yeah.
You gotta get a shot of the Beaver Slap. For
Yeah.
Sure. So yeah, the state made me get the license plate. So interfacing with Vesper Meadow a bit. When I was working for the state, I was doing some streamflow monitoring with them. So there is there's a water right allocation that the state owns that's like an in-stream water right for Letgawa Creek that leaves Vesper Meadow, goes down under the highway there, and then goes all the way down to the South Fork of Little Butte right there, which is like where that church camp is and the Soda Spring like swimming hole is, if you've ever been out there.
Cool. We're going to be interviewing Janine up at Vesper Meadow in like a month or so. So we'll have to, I love when it all
Totally
comes together.
Yeah. So it's a really cool project, and I've interfaced with them a little bit. I try and go to their talks and all that when they go. I haven't been doing a ton since I left working for the state of Oregon. but it's definitely something on my radar and something I've been trying to interface with more. Actually, I just, my girlfriend and I were going to their latest like art and science talk that they had up at Talent Maker City like 2 weeks ago. And as I pulled into the parking lot, my radiator exploded.
No.
And I lost the beaver slapper. I lost all my fluids in the Talent Club. Talent Club drained the fluids out of me.
Usually that's where you fill up on
You
fluids.
think, but no, the parking lot, we were just losing radiator fluid.
No.
Coolant, that's the word for that, coolant everywhere. So long story short is I had to get my car towed, and I didn't actually spend a lot of time in that Vesper Meadow talk. I was dealing with the tow truck and stuff.
That sucks.
But yeah, it's a cool project, and I'm excited what they're doing. They released some beaver up there, which is always hype because one thing about beaver dam analogs is to maintain a beaver complex, it takes a shitload of work, and to do that long term in a really large area like what Vesper Meadow is I would say not going to be
That's so
practical.
cute.
I wish we were filming this other.
There's just two lovely older women dancing down the trail wearing purple.
One of them has a sick
They're my people.
Resi Tip beanie too. We love a Resi Tip beanie around here. A Resi Tip beanie is like when you have a reservoir tip like way high up, kind of like a condom on top of your head. Yeah.
Oh.
Snowboarder thing.
Good to
Snowboarders
know.
love a good Resi Tip.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Shreds, yeah.
I only know the. She shreds for sure. I haven't been.
With those dance moves, obviously.
I haven't been snowboarding like 10 years, but my background is snowboarding for sure. Like high school and since I was like 8, like really hardcore. And we always like when I was the only snowboarder term that I like still use to this day is ghetto gown. So whenever my son has like a really long shirt, I'm like, you got that ghetto gown on, baby? Like, you know, is that still
That's
a
amazing.
thing?
So this connects back into a different podcast, but when I was talking about a 4-hour-long podcast, the last one I listened to was this Icelandic dude. His name's Haldor Helgason, huge name in the snowboard industry. He was coming up when ghetto gowns were a big thing, huge things, triple XTs, quad XTs, whatever. He's in Iceland, but they don't sell quad XTs. So he literally would go and he would buy the most masculine night dress he could find and
hell yeah.
cut it or modify it into a tall tee.
Love that.
Amazing.
Yep.
You can make anything work.
Make anything work.
Yep.
That was true ghetto gown.
Yeah, truly.
Ghetto gown.
I've always loved that term whenever I don't know. Yeah.
So we got ghetto birds, we got ghetto gowns.
Yeah.
And so obviously you have a rich, plentiful background in ecology and stream restoration, stream surveying. Why have you taken a break from that to be a snowboard instructor?
Yeah.
And work in the bike community.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, what kind of initiated this shift for you? Because clearly you're passionate and very knowledgeable and well-versed and can talk about it for a long time.
Twofold. I guess I'll start with bikes and then we'll talk about why I'm on a sabbatical. So the first time that I moved to Southern Oregon, I was like really into biking and especially would bike all summer. And I was like, oh, the biking here is sick. So I was just really stoked on biking, in this zone in particular, in the plethora of trails. I moved back, lived in Ashland, was like, whoa, like, biking from your house every day, that's super cool. Moved here the third time and I was like, well, sort of like was finishing up my PhD at university and was like, oh, I'll have some more time. Like it would be cool to get involved with the club and, to help sort of like shape what's going on. And I've always, liked being involved in that way. So I was sort of searching for that and met some people, got introduced to some people who were on the board. And then they were like, hey, we need new board members. And I was like, oh, cool. Like I'll join. So I actually joined the board, like 2.5 years ago and have been on it for that amount of time. I stopped working for ODFW after a year because I had a PhD and I was essentially like kind of overqualified for the job that I was doing and was looking for more money. And there was no guarantee that that was going to come in a relatively fast time frame at ODFW. So I took a postdoc, which is typically their term positions where you are researching a very specific topic or project, and they're usually like grant funded, and they're usually like a year or 2 years. Mine was 2 years. I was working for the Columbia River Intertribal Fish Commission, analyzing a bunch of data related to a restoration project on the Upper Grand Ronde River in like northeastern Oregon, 9 hours away. And that finished up, and I was kind of like, well, A, it's not a great time to be looking for a job for what I do, and B, I'm not really looking to move at this very second. And so like finding a job in Southern Oregon in specific would be a little bit more difficult. And C, I've sort of been like dreaming of traveling for like a couple months or like a year for a long time. So it just like felt like the right moment where I had accomplished some things, and I still had some things that I'm like working on in terms of trying to publish some of my results. So I'm still like have some science that I can do, but it's just a good opportunity to be like, no, I'm not going to work like air quotes real job. I'm going to go work at the ski area again, and then I can go travel to Europe all summer and like have a sweet time and not have to like quit a real job, so to speak, like not have to be like
put in your 2 weeks notice or your 2 months notice and
so it's just
train
like,
your replacement.
Yeah, it was a good fit. It was a good moment. You know, it hasn't worked out super well from a financial perspective for me because the ski area has been closed for like months.
Yeah.
But no, we've got some snow now. So
Yeah, did we get a good pack going now? Or
yeah,
is
I
it
mean, we
still-
have more snow than we have had, but it's still not like, it's still far from like sick. But
Yeah.
I mean, it's good enough that they opened up aerial. The whole mountain was open except for the bowl, which is
That's
good.
positive.
Yeah, positive
Yeah,
trends.
that was scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's how I sort of ended up back into being a ski bum again. I'm calling it my last hurrah. No, I don't know if it's the last one. Who knows?
Hopefully not.
Maybe I'll come back.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure if like.
I mean, Arden's was 60 and still working up there.
Yeah. Never sure if you'll ever actually be able to retire. So my thought is I'll just retire iteratively for like a year at a time throughout life.
Take a picture. Oh, I'll snooze it. We'll do it. We're good. Carry on.
Yeah. So,
Cool.
Yeah, that's got me in this position where
You
I'm.
think you're going to come back to Ashland? Or are you going to move on to other kind of
Yeah,
places?
I'm not 100% sure. I mean, Caitlin, my girlfriend, and I were looking at potentially buying a house, but then my job was ending, so that was like, oh, this is dumb. Didn't end up pulling the trigger on that, and then, yeah, I'm sort of in a flux state where it's like, oh, I could go somewhere new and change things up, or could stay here for another year. I don't know. We're still interpreting that. I think that's part of my like sabbatical and like going to travel and like go explore for a bit is just like get some new influences and new ideas and new experiences like flowing through me to like figure out like, yeah, do I want to like try and do something else here, or do I want to like go somewhere else and
Yeah, that's cool.
keep my
Fun.
vagabondian nature flowing?
Yeah,
I do
expand like the life. I mean, you've clearly have a lot of life experience through
Yeah.
your educational movement, but expand beyond that a little bit. Do things that just are fun and interesting and
Totally.
aren't oriented for a project or an assignment or
Totally.
a degree.
Yep.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah, so that's where I'm at now, and yeah, it's been pretty good. I mean, the mountain bike stuff has been really cool. Like, I feel like we have a pretty awesome trail network in terms of looking at the whole valley. There's so many different kinds of trails and so many different kinds of riding, and there's some really, really cool groups or like nodes of people throughout the valley who are doing their own thing. So, you know, something I was really excited about and something that I think still could be improved on is just interconnectivity between those nodes and like forming a better I don't know, like organization or structure or lattice that like interfaces between some of those different places, because they are like relatively far apart. Like, you know, Grants Pass to Ashland isn't that close that like that many people are going to do it
Right.
on a fairly regular basis, so there kind of needs to be some sort of something tying that together.
That's, I think, the reviving of the SOTA.
Yeah.
The I think that was Larry.
Southern Oregon Trail Alliance.
Yes.
Yes.
That was their,
Larry Sussman, episode 10,
Yeah, something like
Yeah.
something like that.
Don't quote us on that. But that was his, I think, one of his goals
Yeah.
with, you know, reviving the trail
Totally.
stuff. And he really wants to try, like, have you met Larry?
I haven't. No.
Oh, God, he's great.
I need
Yeah.
to meet like a lot of that crew. I've been meaning to go to like a soda thing or like interface with them, but it just hasn't quite worked out for whatever reason. But
Again, that's because it's like 45 minutes. Like, it'd be different if it was like, that's what I don't know.
But it's still all the Rogue Valley and Southern Oregon.
Totally.
Like,
It's hard to. I
Totally.
know. I feel that just in the bike shop community too and stuff. There's some limitations that have like happened, and like with that, like yes, we can interconnect, but it's just like it's hard to get to somebody and get to some place. It really has to be like planned out, which is a barrier to entry and things. But I think Larry's doing a really good job of trying to like harness, you know. I feel like there could be, don't quote me on this, but some individuals that tend to block things and kind of block it for the whole.
always. It's always obstructionist.
Yes, and I'm just like, if you just were open and collaborative and put your ego to rest,
certainly.
then everything would kind of blend and mesh a little bit more.
Yeah.
There's a few individuals that I can.
Yeah, and that's something I've seen, you know, being part of RVMBA is there's definitely that. And there's also like, because it's a small community and like it doesn't feel like there's that much throughput in terms of new people moving here, that there's a lot of people who are like, why would I need a community event? I already have all my friends. And it's like, well, bro, because you could meet new people. Like, what do you mean? Like, there's a lot of this like sort of like, I don't know, like old guard or whatever the right word is, that's like, I already have friends to ride with. Why would we need a community event to meet new people? It's like,
Because they need friends to ride with.
also, your new best friend could be waiting just around the other side of this tree. And if you don't have a community event to meet them, you might never freaking meet them.
Yeah, I mean, we've met some of our deepest, like, that's one goal of the bike shop too, is to like, we're not just like, we try to call ourselves a community bike shop. You know, we host the group ride every Thursday, rain or shine, hot or cold. Sean is out there hosting the damn group ride.
Totally.
And it's like,
Good for him.
dude, that's his tried and true bread and butter. Like, you can join a group ride, and that's pretty inclusive. Like, we don't necessarily, you know, it's beginner friendly, but not too beginner.
Yeah,
like, not
yeah,
first time on a bike beginner, but like beginner.
Yeah.
But he's always inviting people out. Anyway, trying to be the community, like, let's get this, like,
hub.
it's a hub. You meet new people, and we have done a really good job, but I think it could be so much broader.
Totally.
And I think I'm also a component catalyst to that sort of. And then I had to take my own sabbatical from things just because I had a baby.
Yeah.
And that
No,
happens.
that's
But I'm
understandable.
getting back to it. Anyway, it's just community. Why? Why are
Yeah.
people so shut down about like expansion of?
Yeah, it's a great question. And I don't exactly know the full answer, but yeah, it's something that I'm stoked on. And like, yeah, like the opening for Dollar Mountain was so sick because that was like so many people showed up and people came from all over the place. And it's like that sort of like really chill, just like almost festival-like atmosphere where you just meet a bunch of people and get to interface with new people and just like, yeah, really good opportunity. And there's people who came from like Coos Bay to come to that. Like, it
hell
was
yeah.
like, there's
What
people
did
who
you
came
think of
from
the trail?
everywhere. The trails?
Yeah, what do you think?
Yeah,
of the
yeah, I
trails?
like them. I mean, it's sweet because it's a blank canvas and you can build whatever you want. And there's like so much variety from the pumps and jumps at the very beginning, you know, where the parking lot is, whatever, cha-ching, the warm-up loop is super sick to have something like that, to the really hard stuff. It's like there's a little bit of everything. I think some of the climbing trails are pretty difficult and like maybe could be graded
Soften.
even gentler, but like that
That's
would
a
be my only
consensus.
critique. Like other than that, I feel like from like once you turn around and start going downhill, like everything's pretty freaking fun, everything's pretty well built.
On that note, I feel like I want to get like a community survey about Dollar and how that like beginning trail, because Sean doesn't want to host the group ride there because it's too steep in the beginning and it's hard to, there's a barrier to entry when it's that steep because not everybody's on an e-bike. Some people are, some people aren't.
Yeah.
We're very inclusive of that, but like that's hard. Anyway.
Yeah, and the easiest one is from not the city side, which like it's from what's that weird road name called that goes up into the area where they're about to build a new house?
Oh, Hagelin.
Highland, yeah. The easiest one is from Highland, which is like,
But it's still really hard.
it's still difficult. It's still not a
the
green.
switchbacks
Yeah,
are
it's
so
still
hard
not
to
a green
navigate.
climb.
Yeah.
But like if you go from the city side, if you go from like the old Dollar Mountain Trail, that thing is freaking brutal.
So bad.
It's like elevator status. So
Yeah.
you might
It's
as well just
rough.
hike your bike for a couple
Yeah.
portions of that.
Yeah, I want to gently, because there, again, are people that are very like, it's the best thing ever. And it's like, well, you're also on an e-bike and you're not thinking about somebody that, is not. And,
You're not on an e-bike.
yeah, that just wants to enjoy.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's neither here nor there. We got to do a little wrap up.
Yeah, we're getting close to the end of our time, so we want to ask our core question, which sounds like you probably have hundreds and hundreds of dozens. But what is one memory that you have that is a core memory, pivotal experience that changed the trajectory of your life, changed the way that you look at the world, that happened outside?
It happened outside.
Yeah, you like that? You like that phrasing? Thank you.
Yeah, what do I choose? There's lots of options. It's harder than I expected.
It is hard when your whole life revolves around
it's like
the outdoors.
Cumulative. That's my thing. It's like I have just
Yeah.
one big time period in my life, a bunch of little stories within it, but it's this whole.
Okay, so I feel like for me the maybe pivotal or changing point was I lived in Illinois, and I lived I don't know, maybe a mile from my school or something. Not that far. I was in third grade. So we would bike to school, and the bike route went way faster than the car route because you could avoid the roads. And the reason you could avoid the roads is it went on an old railroad grade where they had converted it into a path. And so every day I could bike through the woods on my way to school, and that was just our woodland hangout spot, 5 minutes from our house, where we could just go and tramp through the woods, or we could build jumps for our bikes, or we could just have the greatest time ever without taking any effort to get there. It was just the daily commute, but the best kind of commute where you're just in the woods for 20 minutes or 15 minutes or however long it took to traverse that little section to school. So I feel that was pretty pivotal, from a young age, getting me stoked on being outside and biking and
Exploring.
cruising through the woods. Yeah.
And having having independence within the woods at a young age is
For sure.
really ooh, oh my god, I'm here alone, and I can really
I could do whatever.
And seeing that conversion of something relatively industrial to something environmentally accessible.
Totally.
I love the rails to trails movement of converting old rail lines into biking and walking trails.
Yeah.
I forget that's a thing. That's really cool.
Totally.
Yeah. Sick. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's been really awesome to chat with you and get to know you and learn so much. I feel so my brain is cooking on fish and beavers and streams, and it's, I could eat, and then because I'm cooking, getting cooked, but once I eat, then I'll be we could totally come back to this.
Yeah.
What is your best advice for somebody looking to access more outdoor space and maybe extreme sports or fisheries or whatever? What's your best advice for your younger self getting in? Maybe even that's a little bit of a different question, but
No, for sure. So for me, the way that I've always sort of ensured that I can get adequate outdoor access is I always try to structure my life in a way that I don't need to drive a car every day. And so I always try and either live close enough to work that I could bike to work, or just live somewhere where I can just walk around from my house, and then you can just always access the outdoors, and it's not this big hurdle of and then I have to get all my shit together and drive here and there. It's just
so you position your life in a way that makes it I can just walk out my door and get places and do things and
Be in nature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be the craziest nature ever. It can just be the random city park, but it still gets you that I can go look at the birds, or I can go smell the flowers. I can,
Perspective.
Exactly. Gets you to have that access outdoors almost every day versus being like,
That's
oh, I
great
can always
advice.
go to the outdoors, but it's got to be a Saturday.
Right.
I feel like that also, that advice plays so well into that we chose this location,
Yeah.
the city park in Ashland, where that is surrounded by houses and people can just literally walk out their door and be in the park.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Love that.
Another quick random fast question is, how would you like to be remembered when you go? When you
Wow.
leave this plane of existence.
As the best shit talker in the whole world.
Okay.
I love that.
It's like not deep, not with no perspective, just love talking shit.
Can you dish it and take it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's important.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
I'm fairly receptive to shit talking. I love people to talk shit to me.
Hell yeah.
And I feel
You
like
don't turn into a Karen. You're just like,
No,
yeah, tell me more, and then you
Give
spit
to
it
me.
back.
Give it to me. Yeah. No, I love a good heckle.
Yes. heckle.
Amazing.
I love that kind of stuff. Yeah. I don't know. I always feel like you have to, an important part of friendship is like, for me, is like being able to talk shit to each other. Cause like, if you can't be like true and open and honest, like,
And comical.
yeah, what is it?
Goofy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another one is, I kind of skipped this one, but do you have a piece of gear that you always kind of like make sure you have with you when you're accessing the outdoors? Or maybe a bigger adventure that you are like, oh, gotta have my whatevers.
Yeah, I mean, I do like cameras and like doing camera stuff. So
It's a good tool.
I won't say I always bring a camera, but if it's like going to be really exciting and like I think it's going to be worth making an engraved memory, then I would bring
Sick.
a camera, whether that's, a full-on camera or a phone camera or a GoPro or something like that. Like, yeah.
Sweet. And then how can others find you if they want to link up with you, if you want to be found, or do you have
Yeah.
like a social media presence or anything like that?
Pretty easily findable. Marshall Wolf is a Googleable name, but yeah, my Instagram.
Because you're a doctor.
Yeah.
'Cause I'm a doctor. I've been meaning to make a webpage for ages, but I've just kind of been lazy and haven't done it yet.
It's a lot of work.
But, yeah, we'll get there eventually. I can't say what my potential domain will be in fear of someone stealing it.
Yeah.
But-
Buy it now.
Bye now, yeah, for real.
But yeah.
I have you in my phone as Marshmallow Wolf.
Marshmallow.
Didn't we establish that like right when I met you? I was
Yeah.
like Marshmallow, or you said Marshall. I thought you maybe said Marshmallow or something like that, and I was like, I'm gonna use
You're
that.
gonna
I
put
can't
that
remember
in.
exactly, but it's in my
Yeah,
phone as
yeah. I mean,
Marshmallow.
there's only really two like nicknames or whatever that I've ever had. Marshall's like pretty easy name, so I feel like you don't really get nicknames. But,
Marsh.
Yeah, Marsh. That's like what
Marshmallow.
my
Ed.
parents would call me. Yeah, Marshmallow. Partial Marshall was one.
Ooh.
Don't know what that meant. But doesn't mean anything. But yeah.
You've got a few things going on and you are indifferent to them.
partially aligned with everything.
Yeah.
Love that.
But yeah, I'm on Instagram and Facebook and all that stuff.
And how could they learn more about RVMBA?
Yeah, rvmba.org is our website. Yeah, you can sign up to become a member. You can see our events.
Is it free to be a member?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
Sorry,
I
guys.
am one of the social media moderators. Yes,
Okay, cool.
I
Just
do.
curious. I think you told me that.
Yeah, totally. No, and that's like that was part of the reason I bought a camera was like to do more of that stuff and just like be more hyped on that kind of stuff. So
More content. You always need more.
Yeah.
For like if you're trying to run something.
totally trying to get people stoked and get people interested. So yeah, you can becoming a member is not free, but you can sign up to get the newsletters and all that kind of stuff for free. I think the minimum contribution for a member is like $5 a month. It's super cheap. And if you are into the outdoors, which you probably are, and you buy any gear, it's super worth it because you get expert voice discounts. So Expert Voice is like this pro deal website that you can buy like literally anything from like Oakley sunglasses to like fishing rods to snowboards to camping chairs to freaking dude, you could probably buy a truck camper on there. I don't know. They
Damn.
got all sorts
Noted.
of stuff.
Yeah.
It's really cool actually. So like I think if you're like just trying to dot your I's there and make sure that you're getting your money's worth, like you
That's
easily
worth it.
get your money's worth for $5 a month just on that alone. And
And $5 a month goes a long way for
Oh, totally.
a
Yeah.
small trail
Yeah,
org.
most of our money comes from that membership model. We do a little bit of sponsorship and like trying to get companies and whatever to help us out with various, directed specific projects. But yeah, most of our operating funds comes.
Do you
from
have an
membership.
upcoming event? Anything
Yeah,
in the books?
so I'm trying to remember the exact date, which I'm going to fail to do for sure. But in the spring, we did it last year and we're going to do it again this year. We have a spring membership party in conjunction with the
Cool.
Ashland Bike Fest, which is like Devo and the Ashland Climate Cooperative and a couple other organizations where we have a sort of weekend long like bike themed festival event. Last year there were film previews, there were bike races for adults, bike races for kids. We had like an alley cat like scavenger hunt thing going on, block parties.
Cool.
Our member party, like sort of all sorts of
I'm going off right now.
Yeah, so many things. And we're chatting with somebody from Devo next week, so
Yeah, totally.
we'll get
Yeah,
some more
they'll-
deets. Yeah.
They'll probably know more. I'm struggling to remember the date. It's probably because
Told you.
I think I'm going to go to Europe before then, so I might not actually be there. Anyway.
Cool.
Oh, hey.
Amazing.
Oh, cool.
We'll have to talk more about that another time. Cool.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much
Thank
for
you,
coming on the
Marshall.
pod.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for listening to this splendid conversation today in the Lithia Park. Like, share, subscribe, comment. All the,
Tell all your friends.
all the things.
Come mountain biking in Ashland. Go snowboarding.
Yep.
Get outside, baby.
Request
Yeah.
me for a private lesson.
And go wildly.
I'm Emily,
And this is Heather.
and together we're Go Wildly.
Well done. Well done. Well done.
We worked on that.
Yeah.
Practice.
We practiced. Wait, these squats.
Oh, thank you. My back is.
I like to do a little yoga.
I'm into that.
Ooh.
I busted my knees, so I don't
Don't do it.
do that right now.
That's okay. You can do an upward stretch. Release from that.
Yeah. You're like.
But it's nice to release from this.
That's a wrap on this episode of Go Wildly. From the bottom of our backpacks, thank you for listening. We know you enjoyed the show, so tap follow, tell a friend or two, and leave a quick review if you can. It makes a real difference. Your support allows Go Wildly to reach new listeners and bring more outdoor stories to the mic. Until next time, go wildly and go outside.
Okay, quick little addendum to the end. Beaver slap. Slap it, Heather.
I mean, that's what it says.